Hey, it is Gina Visram from Dive Into Your Career, and it has been ages since I have done a live. So I am really happy to be with you today. And as I was up nice and early UK time, so if you're watching live, certainly in the UK, it's about 7:45 in the morning at the moment. By the way, if you're watching the replay, you are equally welcome. I would still love you to comment and share and participate. So wherever you are, whether you are watching in real time or whether you're watching the replay, please do say hello. Hopefully I will be able to see you in the comments. So as I said, I am Gina Visram and I have an initiative called Dive Into Your Career. And today I would love to speak to students and supporters of students about things that you can be doing over this Easter break to advance your career prospects. Now, bear in mind that this isn't like things that you need to do over the Easter weekend. Actually, it's not even things that you need to do at all. Need doesn't come into it. It's more a case of want, it's more a case of interest. And if you would like to take some strides, right? Take some strides over the course of this Easter break, because naturally you have a little bit more time off from university or school at the moment, and that means you are more in control of your own time. So before I get started on the things that you could be doing this Easter to advance your career prospects, I will give you a quick bit of context to again say that I am Gina and I work with a range of people, and one of the areas that I love to work in is with students on their journey from education to employment or entrepreneurship. And for me, it's really important to be doing that in a spirit of fun and optimism, not fear and overwhelm. So that is the vibe that you are going to be getting here today. Now, let's dive into it. Let's talk about what you could be doing over the course of this Easter break to advance your career prospects. The first thing that I would say is get some rest. Right now, I am a real goal setter. I love to really encourage you to, take meaningful steps forward, to get closer to those achievements, to get there faster if that is something that you want when it comes to job hunting and finding apprenticeships and things like that. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't rest and that you shouldn't have a break. And if you are now coming out of an academic term, another one which has been very hectic in its own way, very screen heavy, of course, because most people are learning in this way now, then one of the really great things that you can do this Easter, which will advance your career because it will mean that you're not burning yourself out. It will mean that you are not kind of always go, 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 go. So take some time, get some rest. I know it's one of the things that I'm going to be doing over Easter, right? And then with that as well, I've mentioned doing something different. I guess sometimes with the view that a change can be as good as a rest. So if you want to go for more walks, if you as things are opening up, dependent on where you are, if you want to safely be doing something, then you see, I can't even remember what it is people did before pandemic. Like I can't even mention it. But I know things like grassroots football is going on again, and people can be getting back to sort of outdoor exercise and that sort of thing. So yeah, you know your life, so I don't need to make the suggestions, but do something different. That's something else that could be really good to just revitalize things for you. And that is the first thing that I will share. Another one is that you could do an exciting course if you wanted to. Now, I appreciate if you're a student, you may have just been studying a whole load. And of course, there's a chance that you might have assessments and exams as you enter into the summer term. So if the idea of doing even more studying, like in a different course, is the last thing that you want to do, then this one isn't for you. But I am very aware from my experience of working with my clients that sometimes you recognize that there's another skill that you want to build, or when you're looking at the job applications and the things that you're going for, sometimes you realize that there's a skill that you don't feel that confident to talk about. And if that's the case with you, then do consider doing another course. And this isn't signing up for something else at university or a new master's program. No, I mean things like FutureLearn. Have you come across FutureLearn? It's absolutely brilliant, student or non-student. I mean, go on to there. The courses that you can find are from either universities or organizations, and they are as varied as digital marketing to understanding neuroscience. So if you are on your job journey and your application journey, and you think, I would love to be able to talk about something else, there's something that's not quite clicking with my applications, then do consider doing a course. FutureLearn is just one of the platforms. There are Coursera, there are a number of others. So feel free to check that out. So far we've talked about getting some rest, number one, doing an exciting course, and what our topic today is things that you could do this Easter to advance your career prospects. Again, I will say, if you are here live, you are under no obligation, but you are very welcome to say hello. It would be amazing to know who's here and where you are. And if you're watching the replay, likewise, no obligation, but you are very welcome to comment and let me know how you're doing, and potentially which of these ideas is something that you might want to take forward. So number 3, in terms of things you could do this Easter to advance your career prospects, this one isn't a surprise, right? So it is update your CV and your LinkedIn profile. So these are things that are sometimes catching dust. And sometimes they don't fully reflect and highlight the things that you're doing and what your most recent accomplishments are. And if you happen to be a student who is now at the end of your spring term, getting ready to go into your summer term, you might have done a load of things over the past term. You might be on an executive committee of your university. You might have been organizing virtual events. I've been so impressed with what I've seen universities, university societies doing, even remotely. I recently, well, I say recently, but within the past couple of months, I did a talk for the Warwick African Caribbean Society. And it was crazy because I remember 20 years ago, 20 years ago, being the president of the Warwick African Caribbean Society. And we did a lot. We did some great stuff, but we weren't on the career thing the way that the students really are now. So yeah, it was really, really great to see, and it was lovely to contribute. So if you have been doing something in relation to that, then do make sure that you add it on your CV. So ultimately, get that up to date, because then it becomes a lot easier to follow up your CV even after speculative conversations. Or, of course, if you are applying traditional ways via cover letters and CVs and application forms, it makes it much faster if things are up to date. And then it's only a case of doing a little bit of tweaking in relation to the specific role that you are applying for, right? Because it's always important to do that. Now, one of the other things that you could do over the Easter break is some online networking, right? So this is incredibly powerful, and it always has been. But of course, over the last 12 months, over the course of this pandemic, it is arguably even easier to access some of the people that you might be keen to talk to when it comes to your job search and trying to get to know organizations better, trying to get to know roles better, trying to get to know people better. So networking is something that I used to consider icky. I remember having this vision of like being in a room and handing out business cards and it all being really inauthentic. And I mean, arguably it can be like that when we're back face to face, but my invitation to you is to really think about networking as authentically building connections, building relationships. And I suspect that there are loads of job descriptions and person specifications that you might be looking at this stage, and relationship building is one of those things. Love, that is networking, right? That's what it is. Call a spade a spade. So it's a really great thing to be able to do. And as I said, if this is something that you're just not entirely on board with, you just think, oh, Gina, but I'd rather be doing so many other things. Listen, check out some of my recent episodes of the Dive Into Your Career podcast. I will post some links after this live, and you can, listen to a friendly voice, mine, talking about networking, talking about the whys, talking about the hows. I did a few episodes a few weeks ago because it's so important that we're tuned into this. And I can truly say that you are missing out on opportunities if it isn't something that you're tuned into. So for the purposes of what we're talking about today, in terms of what you could be doing over Easter, you could be reaching out to 5 to 10 people online. You can pick your own number. It could be more, it could be less. And, the thing for me in terms of measures of success is it's never about the responses that you get and the connections and how many people connect with you. It doesn't need to be that. It can be if you're, feeling very purposeful about it. But actually what other people do is completely out of your control. Completely out of your control, right? But what you do is within your control. And that's where I say, whatever you want your targets to be, if you're going to be purposeful about it in that way, you can set your targets in terms of outreach, right? Targets in terms of what connections come back, as I said, is out of your control. So down to you to decide how it is that you want to do that. Now, something else that you can be doing this Easter break to advance your career prospects and your career journey and to accelerate it is to create a studying or a job hunting timetable, right? That's something that you can do. So you'll remember from back when you were in school, right? This time of year, Easter time, going into the summer term, maybe even before, depending on how it is you operate, you would create a revision timetable, right? So that is something that you can still do as a university student, if that's the stage where you are at the moment. But what I suggest as well is that you make it a revision and a job hunting timetable. So a studying and job hunting timetable. Now, why is this important? It is really important because, the way the school year goes is that you come to a crucial point in your studies, like your assessment period. And actually, unless you're in something like finance or something else where maybe the application system was much earlier, unless you're in that situation, chances are that this is the time where you're looking to ramp up your job search as well. So what do you do when this timing kind of converges? And you could either decide, I'm going to just focus on my revision, on my studying. That's really important. And that is fine, right? Your mental and your physical health is absolutely the most important thing. However, I would suggest that if you create some kind of timetable for yourself, you will see the times where you can be purposefully advancing your career search, your job hunt as well. So what might that look like? Of course, it could involve actually applying for roles, especially if you see that deadlines are coming up and you want to at least maybe get in one application a week if you would like to do that. I suspect that if you're creating a timetable for yourself, you will see how that can fit in. But as I said, it is not a pressure thing. You know your own capacity. Now, if you wanted to dial that down a little bit, you could she suggests, you could do 15 minutes of online networking, right? We just talked about online networking. You could write a great LinkedIn post about a clubhouse room that you've been in recently and talk about what you've learned from that, right? That is building your personal brand. That is sharing value. These are things I love to talk about and we'll be talking a lot more about, especially as I will have workshops coming out shortly in relation to that sort of thing as well. So you know your own thing, you know your own timing. That is one of the things that you could do. Now, number 6, in terms of things that you could do when it comes to advancing your career over the Easter break, is you could reflect on what a passion project looks like for you. Now, so many of the things that I talk about are applicable both to students and graduates, who is my primary market these days in terms of who I support. But also, if you're a mid-career professional and you're looking at this because you are curious about things that you could also be doing over this current season, then I'd say that the same goes for you, actually. You could think about what a passion project looks like for you. And I love that technology allows us to just completely geek out over the things that we enjoy doing. So, I have noticed recently that all of the things that I do and I share tend to involve stuff to do with careers and career support. And it's something that I absolutely love, and it happens to be something that I'm employed in at a school, that I freelance in at the LSE, so in the university space. Like, there is a genuine theme in terms of what it is that I do and that I share, but passion projects can be completely different, right? So if you love dance, if you love marketing, if you love ice hockey, I don't know, you could be doing things and sharing things in relation to that. And technology means that that could be creating a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast, right? You could be setting up something on Medium or creating your own website. And actually, I would see this as being something that's pretty essential, I would say, if you want to do something like web design or fashion design, right? Like, don't just wait for people to open the doors to their organizations. You have talents, you have access to platforms, you can be creating things at the same time. So passion projects are always something that you could be doing. Now, over the Easter break, you could also be having video chat catch-ups, right? Now, I deliberately haven't specifically said whether that's in relation to some of that online networking that we were talking about, or actually whether that's catching up with your best friend down the road who you're still only seeing online. I know for me, one of the things that really rejuvenates my spirit is when I catch up with a couple of my girlfriends or certain family members or different groups of friends. It really depends. But I know personally, I have at least a couple of friends that we make sure that we have like WhatsApp video chats or Zooms or whatever it is, at least every 2 weeks, sometimes more regularly. And it's really centering. It really is. It's so lovely to just like catch up about all the things. It could be anything from talking about the Coming to America 2 movie to talking about the absolute insanity of the race report that was recently reduced in the UK. Yes, that is my cards on the table. Absolute insanity. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. It could be anything, right? It could be, what we're reading at the moment. So connect with people that soothe your soul, connect with people that make everything feel lighter and more exciting, and you have that impact on them too. And that's definitely something that you can be doing over the course of this break, whether it's professional or personal. And then the last one that I will share with you for today is you can create content. So a podcast, a blog, a LinkedIn article. These are all things that you can be doing which feel really good because you are sharing stuff that is important to you. And you are, as I say here, advancing your career, advancing your journey, because it is linked to building your personal brand and increasing your visibility. So everything that we have talked about today is stuff that we could talk about in so much more detail. And if you have found value from what I have shared today, please do feel free to join my mailing list. I will shortly be more active with newsletters. And also, I am going to have some workshops that are available soon in a range of topics, likely to be starting with using social media to advance your career journey. And that's actually something that I was talking about earlier today on Neil Errington's Easter job hunt, which was really, really fun. So that was something that I was talking about there, because I am a firm believer in using social media to advance your career. And I don't just mean LinkedIn, because if you're just focused on LinkedIn, love LinkedIn, but if you're just focused on it, then you are definitely missing a trick. So let me summarize what I have been talking about today. This has been a session all about things you could do this Easter to advance your career's prospects. And again, in disclaimer, I am not talking about this Easter weekend necessarily. You might be doing all kinds of specific things for that, but if you are a student watching, then it is likely that you have more time at the moment because it's an actual Easter break. So these are things that you could be doing. Number one, getting some rest and doing something different. Number two is doing an exciting course. Number three is updating your CV and your LinkedIn profile. Number four is some online networking. You may want to reach out to 5 to 10 people online. Number five is create a studying and job hunting timetable. Number six is reflecting on what a passion project could look like for you. Number seven is having some video chat catch-ups, whether that is personal or professional. And number eight is to create some content, a podcast, a blog, a LinkedIn article, some new great Instagram posts, whatever it is for you. These are things that you can be doing to advance your career this Easter break. I am going to post some links below in relation to how you can get on the mailing list, but also how you can access Clubhouse. So if you are an Apple user, or to be fair, if you're an Android user, because I think it's rolling out to Android in May, but if you are an Apple user and if you are somebody who wants to advance your career, I highly, highly recommend that you get onto Clubhouse. This is something that I will be doing a specific live about, so don't worry about it. But yeah, I would say get yourself on there now if you're an Apple user. It is still invite only. It is still in beta. Everybody is still figuring out the whole thing. But if you want an invite, I do have some invites. So direct message me. If I already have your number, that's really nice and easy. If I don't, I will need it, but that's all I'll need to be able to get you an invite. And you can do some exploration on there. Again, that's something I'm going to be doing sessions on in the future. Okay, so as I said, if you are watching this, whether live or on the replay, please feel free to comment below. Your thoughts and your feelings and your ideas and your takeaways are always welcome. And apart from that, I look forward to catching up with you again soon. Take care. Bye.